I am back, continuing our look at the mounts that you can find in the various zones. We've already covered Revendreth, that'll be in the description down below. And next up we'll be taking a look at the various mounts you can find within Ardenweald. The first mount we're going to take a look at is going to be the Arboreal Gulper, which is a 100% drop chance from the rare called Humongous. Although Humongous does have a unique way of spawning it, and to spawn it we'll need an item called the Unusually Large Mushroom. Now I've had this drop from mobs in these two locations that I'm showing you now, but these are the locations I've primarily been in, and I have a feeling it can drop from the majority of the mobs within the zone, but I just wanted to mark the places I've had it. When you get it, it'll have a 20-minute duration, which means you have 20 minutes to take it to a specific location, but it's plenty of time, you don't need to worry too much there. So you'll take it to where I'm showing you now, and you'll find this kind of like patch where you can plant the mushroom, and after a minute it will spawn. If someone's already killed Humongous recently, don't worry, it doesn't take very long to respawn. Unless you got here with like literally a minute or so left, you should have enough time for it to spawn and you'll still be able to plant your mushroom. After the minute is up, Humongous will spawn and you'll be able to defeat it. The fight is a little bit tricky, especially in low gear, unless you're a pet class, and then it becomes a lot more trivial. But there's no reason to not do this with other people anyway, because anyone who takes part in the fight will also get themselves a mount on a 100% drop chance. It just does two things notable. It'll do like a fungal spin, you need to get away from it, and then it'll put swirlers on the ground that you move out of. Kill it and get yourself your first mount. The next mount up is going to be the Silky Shimmermoth, which we'll get within Dreamsong Fen. Now you will need a Night Fae player to have a tier 1 anima conductor, which is a part of like one of the new Sanctum upgrades, and they'll funnel anima to the Dreamsong Fen. They'll be able to head there and speak to an NPC and spawn a rare. The rare is kind of like an impersonation of a boss we've fought in the past, and it does kind of randomly rotate each day. To get the mount, however, you will need to kill 7 of these different bosses, and then you'll unlock it from a vendor in the back called Master Clerk Salon, and they'll sell you the mount once you've completed 7 fights for 5,000 anima. 5,000 anima is going to be quite a lot in the beginning, but as we progress further into the start of the expansion, you're going to start having more and more spare anima, so that won't seem too bad. So really the mount only takes about 7 days depending on RNG, and then after that you'll need to start building up the anima to purchase it. The next mount up for us to talk about is going to be the Wild Glimmerfur Prowler, and this is going to drop from a big old rare called Valfear the Unrelenting. Now until recently this was a 100% drop chance mount, but now it's been reduced down to something with a low drop chance. To fight this rare you can do either one or two things. Currently it can still be brute force down. It will have a very high chance of dodging your spells, but you can just keep throwing spells at it until you do kill it, and that's going to need a raid group especially early on. Or you can get a Night Fae with a tier 3 anima conductor, which is going to take some time to get, and they can funnel anima to the Turner Sith, and they'll be able to pick up a seed and throw it at the Valfear, and then it'll remove that dodge chance buff and you'll be able to kill it. Now, one thing I'm not too sure on right now, I assume it can still drop for everyone as it could previously, but with the sudden drop chance change and it's been added to a vendor for the Night Fae only as well, which I assume is kind of like a bit of a bad luck protection for them, I'm not too sure if it can drop for everyone or only Night Fae. My money's still going to be on everyone, but you know, because of the drop chance change, I can't test and confirm if it is still for everyone. The next mount up is going to be the Shimmermist Runner, which is a 100% drop chance after you defeat a mob called Shizgear. Although getting to Shizgear can be quite tricky because if you don't approach him properly, he'll completely phase out and you won't be able to attack him. So right where we were near Valfear, there'll be a kind of like maze looking thing. You'll have 3 different entrances and we need to take the correct path, which I'll be showing you now. If the map isn't helpful, basically you need to look for these blue lights that are dangling, not the purple or kind of red or whatever. You need to look for just the blue ones, and the first path will be to the left. You'll follow this along and you'll find a mushroom that you can kind of like jump on. I would recommend doing this because it'll give you reduced kind of radius of detection. And then we want to take the first right, and then the left, and then the right, and then the third door, and then finally the middle door. And this will lead you into the platform where Shizgear is. You'll defeat this, and then you'll be able to click on the kind of Dream Runner who's been trapped here, and you'll get yourself the mount. The fight is quite difficult, especially with low gear, so you do want to try and do this with other people, and everyone who takes part in the fight will be able to get themselves the mount too. And do be careful though, because the elites in the area can aggro and they'll make the fight more difficult for you. But yeah, just go through the maze correctly, and then you'll be able to fight Shizgear and get yourself that mount. If he's not there though, he does have a respawn of about an hour or so, so you do need to wait for that before you can fight him. Turn of Sith is Mount Heaven apparently, because a bunch of mounts are there. The next one up we'll talk about is the Spinemaw Gladechewer, and this is going to drop on a 100% drop chance as well from a rare called Gortamatizo. To get him to spawn though, you do need to kill the Spriggans in the area, and they'll have a very low chance of shouting that they need his help and getting him to spawn. Now previously it was thought that only the Spriggans riding the Elite Dream Runners had a chance of calling out for Tizo, but I did this recently, I was retesting it, and I had one of the normal mobs call out. It was while I was fighting one of the elites, so I'm not too sure if something weird was going on, but yeah, either way he called out and I had a normal mob actually spawn it. If that is the case, then these are even way lower drop chance or proc chance than the elite versions. So I would just say kill everything, kill all of the Spriggans in the area, and do it that way, because it's worth killing them anyway. You've got good chance of like things like cloth and stuff. And when he does spawn, the fight is very trivial, and anyone who takes part in the fight will get themselves the mount on a 100% drop chance. The next mount up is going to be the Wildseed Cradle, which we'll get by collecting 5 of these tools within the Garden of Night. And these are all very easy to get, they're not really very hidden. If you're looking for them, at least you'll find them, and I'll be showing you where they all are anyway. And you'll go around, collect these 5 tools. They're all pretty much instant respawn. I mean, they have no respawn timer, they're just permanently there basically. So you can do this with other people, no problem. And you'll just run around, collect the 5 tools. Once you have all 5, then what you'll do is you'll click on one of them and it'll combine them into like a toolkit. And then once you have the toolkit, we'll head over to Turnaval, and just on the kind of left side, we'll find Twinklestar. You'll speak to them, you'll say, hey, I've got your toolkit for you, and they'll give you a buff, and behind them a chest will spawn. You'll open that chest and you'll get yourself the mount on a 100% drop chance. The next mount up is going to be the Umbral Scythehorn, and this will be purchasable from a vendor once you are revered with the Court of Night. Now, previously, the reputation came from only the Tier 2 and Tier 3 Anima Conductor stuff for Night Fae, although more recently, and any Covenant can take part in this right now at least, Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3 related stuff gives reputation. So you could do the Opera event in Dreamsong Fen and that'll give you 500 rep, or Valfir in the Turn of Sith, that'll give you 500 rep as well. And you just want to be taking part in that stuff and gaining yourself reputation that way. So if it does continue to work like that, which obviously we're very close to launch, so you would hope so, then it would be that Night Fae do get a bit of an advantage because they'll have more things that they can do unique to them. They'll gain them reputation, while non-Night Fae players will only have the 2 rare fights to take part in. But you'll keep doing those, you'll gain yourself that 500 rep, and after about a month-ish, you'll have enough reputation to be able to purchase the mount. Next up, we have the Duskflutter Ardenrmoth, which is going to come from Exalted with the Wild Hunt, which is going to be the general zone reputation, very similar to how we have in BFA. And you'll gain reputation from doing the story quests, the side quests will give some as well, and then doing world quests at max level is going to give you most of your reputation for this as well. It's going to be a case of repeating your world quests, and then you can also purchase a contract if you wanted as well from Inscription, and that'll give you an additional 10 rep per world quest that you do. Although there will be a lot less world quests in Shadowlands, so they're not going to be as valuable as they previously were. But yeah, just basically keep repeating those sources until you do reach Exalted. There will also be the Amber Ardenmoth, which is going to come from the Paragon Cache for the Wild Hunt, so if you like Paragon Caches, then you've got another one of those on the go. So once you reach Exalted, you'll start gaining reputation towards a Paragon Cache. Every 10k will give you a Paragon Cache, and it's assumed that a fairly low drop chance after opening the cache will give you the Amber Ardenmoth. So those are all the general amounts available to all the Covenants, assuming things like Wild Glimmerfur Prowler still work similar to how they did at least. The rest of the amounts we're going to talk about are going to be Night Fae only, although some of them will be able to be used by the other Covenants once you obtain them. The first one we'll talk about will be the Swift Gloomhoof, which is obtainable by only Night Fae, but then can be used by any Covenant currently. And this is going to be a bit of a secret mount, so I will be doing my best to TLDR this, but if you do need a full guide, there will be a link in the description down below to my full guide on this. I would recommend getting some friends to help you with this as well, because it's going to be very difficult to solo, so it's worth doing in a group, and everyone who kills it will get themselves the mount too, so no reason not to. So, that being said, what you need to do is get yourself this Broken Soul Web, which is going to come from Turn of Sith, and this is going to be a little bit out of the way. It's going to be in a kind of platform that you normally can't reach, and the way you're going to reach that is via class abilities or whatever, or the easy way is a Goblin Glider kit. You'll glide over to this tree, you'll run up the tree, and then you'll wait for your glider to come off cooldown again, and then you'll make your way to that circular looking platform. Once there will be a broken cart on your right, and behind it, you'll be able to loot the broken soul web. The next step is now to get it repaired by an NPC called Elder Gwenna in Glitterfall Basin, but to unlock Elder Gwenna you need to complete 2 side quest chains. The first one will be Trouble in the Banks from the mob called Lady of the Falls, and you'll get that, you'll go through that, and I'll have all the quests that you need to do on the screen now. And then once done with that, you'll be given this quest from the same NPC called Age's Echoing Wisdom, and you'll go through that and you'll actually be aiding Elder Gwenna themselves, and once again I'll have the quest up. Once you've finished aiding Elder Gwenna, they should be over in Glitterfall Basin, you'll be able to speak to them, and don't be on your mount because it bugs out, at least currently. Give them 10 lightless silk and they will turn it into a repaired soul web. The next step, and the step that currently requires Night Fae only at least, is to speak to Ysera within your Covenant Hall, the Heart of the Forest. You'll head inside there, you'll speak to Ysera and they'll say they can fix it, and they'll turn it into the Dreamcatcher. And that's, any other Covenant could do everything up until this point, but the other Covenants can't get inside the Heart of the Forest to speak to Ysera. With the Dreamcatcher in hand, you'll now head to the Hibernal Hollow, and kind of on the left side I'll be showing you now, you'll find Nightmare running up and down. You'll use the Dreamcatcher here and it'll put you into kind of like a Nightmare realm, and then you'll be able to fight and attack the Nightmare, which is running up and down. All your group members will need to use this item as well to be able to see and attack Nightmare, and it does have a 5-minute duration, so do make sure you are keeping it buffed up while you're in there, just in case it does take you more than 5 minutes. It has an attack that you'll need to move away from, and it has an attack that you'll want to interrupt. Outside that, fairly trivial fight. The next 2 mounts are going to come from the same source. The first one will be the Enchanted Winterborn Runestag, which is going to be the Night Fae only mount, and then the other one is going to be the Vibrant Flutterwing, which I assume, I haven't actually gotten this mount, but I assume it will be usable by all Covenants, but don't quote me on that, I'm just pretty damn sure. This is going to come from Marasmius Rep, which is the mushroom system, the transportation system for Night Fae. It's going to be this kind of like enchanted mushroom system, and as you progressively unlock the different tiers in your Anima Sanctum upgrades, you'll gain access to more daily quests to help Marasmius, and that'll gain you more reputation each day, and once you hit the certain stand-ins with him, you'll be able to purchase the mounts from him for Anima. The next mount up is going to be the Winterborn Runestag, which you'll be able to purchase once you're revered with the Court of Night, which we talked about earlier. You'll do the Anima Conductor related fights and events, you'll gain reputation and you'll be able to purchase it, except this one will be for Night Fae only, although right now it's bugged on the vendor and seems like anyone could purchase it if they had the reputation, so hopefully that gets fixed. The next 2 mounts will require Renown, which is going to be the kind of like currency you'll progressively get week by week. And the first one up is going to be the Shadeleaf Runestag, which will require Renown 23, which is going to take quite a bit of time to get. And then at Renown 39, you'll be able to purchase the Enchanted Shadeleaf Runestag. The next 2 mounts are from the campaign quest line for the Night Fae. The first one is going to come from the intro to the campaign though, when you're joining Night Fae, which will be the Dreamlight Runestag. And then the Enchanted Dreamlight Runestag is going to come from Chapter 6 of the campaign, although to reach Chapter 6 you will need Renown as well, because it is gated behind Renown. The final 2 mounts are going to come from the unique feature for Night Fae, which will be the Queen's Conservatory, and the first mount up we're going to talk about will be the Wakeners Runestag. For this you should be able to get it with a tier 1 version of the Queen's Conservatory, and what you'll need is 2 Wildseed root grains, which we can get from like the weekly quests in the Queen's Conservatory, and then you'll also need a Divine Untamed Spirit. These are going to come from things like the weekly gardening bags or the various reward bags that you can get from this system. Once you do get that, what you'll want to do is put down your 2 Wildseed root grains near a seed, so it's funneling into that one seed. You'll place your spirit inside that seed, and then once it's fully grown, you will have a chance of getting the Wakeners Runestag as a reward. The final mount up is going to be the Enchanted Wakeners Runestag, but this one is going to need 4 Wildseed root grains attached to 1 Wildseed of regrowth. And for that to happen, you will need a tier 3 Queen's Conservatory, which will take you some time to get. But it'll be a similar process. Once you do have it, you'll get a Divine Untamed Spirit. You'll put down your 4 Wildseed root grains in catalyst plots attached to the Wildseed of regrowth, and then you'll put in your spirit, and then after 7 days it will open and you'll have a chance of getting the Enchanted Wakeners Runestag as a reward. And that is it. That does bring us to the end of the mounts in Ardenweald. There are quite a lot for you to get and quite a lot of easy mounts for you to pick up as well, so definitely a zone to target for your mounts. But look out for the rest of this series coming soon. There are a few mystery mounts still that is holding me back from being able to finish the other 2 zones. But once those are figured out, I'll be able to get those out, so you can look forward to those in the hopefully near future. Outside of that, look out for more videos coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.